Hi, my name is John Hemenick. Welcome to the channel. We're in part 2 of an abundant mindset. If you missed part 1, go ahead, check it out. It's actually just published a few days ago where we talked about the 4 realms of achievement, how to unlock and break through the spirit of poverty and the spirit of lack on your life so that you can have the abundance that God has set out in your life that you have had as a part of an inheritance as walking with Jesus Christ. Now, part 2 is really going to be focusing on implementing an abundant mindset and taking those 4 realms and making it a reality. Just as a quick recap, the 4 realms are vision, being able to communicate the vision. Number 3 is integrating, which is coming together and creating a plan. And number 4 is actually walking it out. Now, when you're in step 5, which is actually walking it out, you're probably thinking, well, how do I get started? I have an idea. I've kind of went through these different situations. How do I then lead a dominating life that God has promised me in His Word, but I don't know actually how to do it? This video is going to be quick hitting, and it'll talk about all those different steps on how you can basically put things into motion and apply it to anything that you're doing. And it will apply regardless of where you're at from a financial perspective as well as a time perspective, because these things can basically flex based upon your availability and your income, and you can move it forward with speed if you have more time and or more money. So let's dive right into it. Now, when you've walked through the first 4 realms and you've accomplished the vision, you're starting to communicate it, you've got people that are rallying behind you, and you're now starting to walk it out. It's very important to understand is that you actually don't need to borrow money in order to make anything happen. This is going to sound strange, especially if you're trying to do something that's brand new, if you're writing a piece of software or you're creating a new invention. God has talked about being able to be the provider as a part of this process. And He talks about this in Matthew 6:33, where He says, "Pursue my kingdom, pursue my righteousness, and I will add all these other things unto you." So what you need to do is understand is as you're pursuing a godly kingdom purpose, as you walk that path, God will provide all the things that you need along the path. You have to be faithful and walk it out, but God will take care of the rest. So an example would be is that you would probably want to be able to start by creating maybe a company, being able to, basically get bank accounts open. You can go and start to basically set up a website and do all those kinds of things. Those are all common things businesses have. Anyone can do that. But the thing is those faithful steps allow you to start to put things into motion so that things come to you. God can't bless you if you don't take a step forward. Think about it from the perspective of maybe you don't have enough money to design a website, but God's going to have a website designer come to you in a couple weeks. If you can just get the website up, maybe on GoDaddy or whatever hosted platform like WordPress or wherever, and get that in place, and then someone will come and then finish the work for you. You have to take that first step. That's the essence of step number 5. And putting an abundant mindset into motion that's the faith-filled action steps that James talks about. You have to walk things out. You have to be able to submit paperwork to the IRS to get an EIN number. You have to put paperwork into your local state department to be able to create a corporation within your state so that you can actually do business and operate in that area. That's what we're talking about, is being able to move forward so that you can actually accomplish the work so that God can start to bless you with finances, people, or other things. You don't need an attorney to create a company, but it would be nice to have one, and God may provide you one once you take that faithful step. That's the essence of what God wants you to do. As you start to step past kind of what we consider the common area across businesses, now you're going to start to walk into the very things that you need to do for the specific vision God has on your life. And that vision could be a ministry, it could be a nonprofit, it could be anything. But what the idea is that as you're communicating the 4 realms to people, the vision, you're communicating it, you're bringing people around, what you'll start to see is that income will start to come your way, whether through potential customers that you're looking to sell to, whether to be people that you're going to provide services. And you may even be a nonprofit where you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to go out there and leverage grants and basically people of income so that they can come and support me and then do things, and then I can move things forward. There are so many different vehicles in which income can come to you that as you move forward, really, income is really one of the few areas, once done right, that you don't really have to focus on because it's a core part of tools. But what happens is a lot of people who are starting businesses and trying to accomplish an abundant mindset, what happens is they fail to walk out the core things in order to make things work because they want God to move first. When God is waiting you for to move first so he can bless you by receiving that blessing at that point in time that you've taken that step forward. That's what God wants you to do. He doesn't want you to stay stagnant. He doesn't want you to be in a place where you continue to just be static, where you're unchanging, where you're basically living life day after day. You need to be renewing your mind. Also, a key part of this is learn from other people that have done it before you. Partner with them, get them on your board of directors. Get people on your founders group so that you have partners that can work with you. Maybe some people will bring income to the piece of the pie. They may bring other people to the party that allow you to do the work. It's very important because these partnerships will allow you to establish basically a kingdom business that moves forward. Even Jesus, one of the first acts that he did is to go get the disciples. That's what he did early on in his ministry because he knew the ministry was so big and it was at scale that he needed other people to then carry it on once he went back to heaven. He knew that. So that's the same principle. Following what Jesus did will allow you to operate in those steps. What you'll notice is once you get to that point, this is really the cool part. Those other things that you have to do specifically for your business, they just kind of happen. When you've established a group of people, you have a business plan in mind, you've got these things moving, what happens is things just start to come to place because God's going to bring all those other things into being for you because you're moving things forward. You're training yourself up. You're training your team up. You're getting them to move forward. And what happens is that God does those things for you and they just get things done. Things start to get done. Customers may start to hear about what you're doing. You may start getting clients early in the process. And all of a sudden, you start making progress before everything's even fully baked. That's an abundant mindset. God's going to show you that as you walk this out, as you're building things, as you do things, what's going to happen is you're going to start to see people come into your life, whether those are employees, partners, investors, board directors, or even customers. And all of those things just come together because God's prepping them for you to move forward. And as you take those steps of obedience by doing simple things like opening a bank account and putting $10 in it, or creating your website and putting content on there, just creating your vision and just talking about it, or starting to share that on social media. Hardly any of these things cost any money, and anyone pretty much of any means can do it. That's where God wants to meet you. That's where he wants to bless you, because those are the things that are going to allow you to move forward and upward in the areas that God wants you in an abundant mindset. These things are core because at the very basic component of it, the middle of it, right in the middle of it is faith. That's the essence of what God wants you to do. He wants you to operate in faith so that you can receive all the things he has, and he operates in that realm between your obedience and how far your faith is going. And so as you move forward, that's the essence of operationalizing an abundant mindset, is being able to take what you've got and make it reality through your obedient steps, allowing God to bless you along the way, because at the end of the day, it's to his glory that he does all these things. Because when you start to understand all the things that he's going to do, you'll realize that you could never have done it by yourself. You could never have thought about the things that God does. And on top of it, it will accelerate so fast that next thing you know, maybe even less than a year, you may have a full-fledged business where it's so profitable and with no debt that you'll be able to continue to even possibly leave your own job today and move into that full time. And that becomes basically a foundation that you build for the rest of your life. So I pray this video blessed you. And if you prayerfully consider becoming a partner with this ministry, we do a ton of great things online, and we're doing some amazing things to push the gospel forward. We have a new website on Patreon. It's patreon.com/John Humeniuk. We have 3 tiers where you can partner with us. Everything you put into the ministry goes back into spreading the gospel throughout the world. And I'm thankful for you watching this, and God bless.